The Zorak fleet floated above Earth like silent gods. Their ships were huge, black, and sharp-edged, blocking out the stars. Commander Virik stood tall on the bridge of the flagship Void Reaper, arms crossed, a cruel smile on his face. "This will be over in one Earth day," he said confidently. "Their defenses are ancient, their people weak. They are still using bullets." His second-in-command, Dral, looked at the screen. "Shall I send the scout team, Commander?" Virik nodded. "Send 20 soldiers. Let them see what real fear looks like." The small Zorak craft broke away from the mothership, flying down through Earth's atmosphere. The soldiers inside laughed. They had fought in many worlds. Earth was just another name on their long list of conquered planets. The landing was smooth. The air was clean. The forest around them was quiet. Too quiet. Lieutenant Kryn stepped out first, holding his plasma rifle. "No signs of life," he said, but something was wrong. Birds were silent. Wind didn't move the trees. The forest felt like it was watching. 10 minutes later, all contact was lost. The last message from the scout team came through as a static-filled scream. Just a scream, then nothing. Commander Virik frowned. "Technical error," he said. "Send the next wave. 50 soldiers." More dropships fell to Earth. They landed in 5 different locations. All signals vanished within 20 minutes. No enemy seen. No gunfire, just silence. And more screaming. Dral's hands trembled. "Sir, this is not normal." Virik's eyes narrowed. "It's a trick. Humans are hiding. Cowards, afraid to face us." He turned to his communication officer. "Send." Down the battle droids, a full squad. The machines descended. They were faster, stronger. They did not feel fear. One by one, their signals went dark too. Virik stared at the black screen in front of him. "What is happening on that planet?" Dral whispered. "What if they are not hiding? What are you saying? What if they are hunting us?" For the first time, Virik had no answer. Later that day, the Void Reaper received a video. Transmission. No signal ID, just a recording. It showed the forest floor. Blood, burned metal, crushed armor, then movement. A human stepped into the frame. He wore no armor, just dirt-covered clothes. In one hand he held a knife. In the other, a Zorak skull. The human stared directly into the camera. Then he smiled. The video ended. Silence spread across the bridge. "Who was that?" Dral asked, voice shaking. Virik's hands clenched. "Just one man. He wants to scare us." "But what if he's not alone?" Dral whispered. "What if there are more like him?" Virik ignored him. "Prepare the elite squads. I want that man found. Bring me his head." 10 squads dropped to the surface. Trained killers. Best in the Zorak fleet. None came back. Instead, their helmets were sent back to the ship. Delivered one by one. Covered in blood. Then came the sound. A strange music played through the ship's speakers. Old human music. A slow, haunting tune. No one could stop it. It echoed through the halls. That night, some soldiers refused to sleep. Others reported shadows moving in their rooms. The fear was growing. One technician shot himself in the head. Then another. Virik tried to stay strong. "They are only humans," he shouted. "We are Zorak. We fear no one." But no one responded. He looked around. The room was empty. He was alone. He stepped out into the hallway. Lights were flickering. Blood on the walls, screaming. Far away, he ran to the command center. Only Dral remained, sitting in the dark, shaking. "They're inside," Dral whispered. "They're not fighting for survival. They're enjoying it." Virik pulled his blaster. "We'll fight to the end." Dral turned his head slowly. His eyes were wide. "We already lost." From the darkness behind Dral, a shadow moved. Virik fired, but it was too late. His last memory was a hand grabbing his neck, and then nothing. Far above Earth, The rest of the Zorak fleet received a simple message. Don't come to Earth. It's not a planet. It's a grave. The galaxy listened and stayed away. The silence on the Zorak command ship grew heavier each day. The once proud soldiers no longer walked with pride. They whispered. They watched every shadow. Something on Earth had broken their spirit. Admiral Krovuk, leader of the Third Imperial Fleet, arrived with a fresh army. His ship, Stormfang, docked next to the damaged Void Reaper. He looked around and saw fear in every face. What happened here? He asked sharply. No one answered. Krovuk entered the bridge and faced the remaining officers. Speak. Captain Velrin, eyes sunken and voice shaking, said, We lost all contact with Earth teams. Over 100 elite soldiers. Gone. Gone? Krovuk scoffed. Humans do not have the power to destroy us. Velrin looked down. We didn't find bodies. We didn't find ships. We didn't even find weapons. They just vanished. Krovuk laughed coldly. Then I will go myself and show you how war is done. Within the hour, the sky over Earth lit up again. More dropships fell through the clouds this time, with full firepower. Tanks, drones, flamethrowers, scanning bots. Over 500 Zorak soldiers landed across 3 continents. Their scanners searched for heat, movement, radio signals, anything human. They found nothing. General Sirak, leading ground operations, gave the order, sweep everything. Burn the forests. Smash their cities. Drag them out if we must. They moved through towns that looked untouched. No people. No signs of war. Just quiet. Too quiet. One squad walked into a human hospital. It was empty, but something felt wrong. Private. Kren opened a door. Inside was a message, written in red across the wall. We see you. Behind him, the door slammed shut. A scream echoed. When the others opened the door again. Kren was gone. Only his boots remained. Retreat. One soldier shouted. But the exits had vanished. The hallway was longer now, darker. Moving. Then the lights failed. Only screams followed. General Sirak lost 10 squads that day. No gunfire. No enemy seen. Just fear. And silence. He tried to contact the command ship, but his signal was blocked. Back on the Stormfang, Admiral Krovuk paced. We are the most powerful army in this galaxy, he growled. How are we losing to humans with no ships? A scientist. Dr. Kelna spoke softly. It's not about ships, Admiral. I've studied Earth history. These humans, Krovuk cut her off. History? We are fighting ghosts. She shook her head. No, Admiral, we're fighting minds. These humans have survived endless wars. They do not fight fair. They use fear, chaos, and shadows. And they know their planet better than we ever will. Krovuk slammed his fist on the console. Then I will break their minds. He sent in hunter-class droids. Machines with no fear, no sleep, no soul. They never came back. The last image from their video feed showed a child standing in the middle of a ruined city, smiling. Then static. Panic spread like fire. Soldiers refused to go down to the planet. Others started shooting each other during hallucinations. Some saw faces in the dark. Some heard voices. Even Krovuk began to feel it, the whispering. Late at night, when the ship was quiet, he heard it. Voices speaking in broken Zorak. Words like, you came here for war. Now stay forever. You don't leave. One morning, an escape pod launched from Stormfang. Inside was a single Zorak soldier, bleeding, shaking, eyes wide with madness. He had carved human words into his chest. Help US. Krovuk watched the pod vanish into deep space. He turned to Dr. Kelna. How do we defeat this? She looked tired. I don't think we can. He whispered. Then we retreat. But it was too late. The engines of Stormfang wouldn't start. The ship's systems had been hacked. From Earth, we never gave them access, shouted an officer. Dr. Kelna whispered. They took it. Alarms blared. The ship shook. Gravity failed. Lights turned red. One by one, Zorak ships lost control. Drop ships exploded mid-air. Orbiting vessels turned on each other. "Sabotage!" screamed Krovuk. But how? On every screen in every ship, a video began playing. The same human man from before. No armor. No fear. He held a knife in one hand. Looked into the camera. "You thought Earth would be easy," he said, voice calm. "But you were never ready to face us." He smiled, and the screen went black. That night, the Zorak fleet burned in the sky like falling stars. The Earth below remained silent. No human army stood in formation. No leader made a speech. There was only the wind and the sound of the forest. Breathing. The galaxy would not forget. Earth was not easy, and nothing that entered it. Survived. The galaxy had gone quiet. For centuries, the Zorak Empire had crushed all resistance. Their fleets had burned worlds, enslaved races, and broken civilizations. But now, something strange was happening. Messages from Earth stopped. Ships that went there never returned. Whole fleets were lost, without a single survivor. Inside the high tower of the Imperial Council on Zorak Prime, whispers filled the hall. "Is it true?" a voice asked. "They say an entire battle fleet was destroyed," another replied. "By who? No one knows. The humans never even fired a shot." The council summoned one of their top minds, High Analyst Creel, a master of strategy and war history. He had studied hundreds of alien species, predicted every weakness, and helped conquer 20 planets. Now, they gave him one mission. "Go to Earth," the council said. "Find the truth." Creel stood tall. "I will find what?" The others could not. He traveled in a small stealth ship, fast and nearly invisible. No weapons. Just scanners, sensors, and data probes. As he entered Earth's orbit, he noticed something odd. "No satellites," he muttered. "No planetary shields. No orbiting stations." It looked empty. Too empty. His scanner showed signs of ruined ships floating in low orbit. Wreckage from Zorak vessels, some pieces still burned. Others drifted, lifeless. Creel flew lower. On the surface he saw human cities, but they looked abandoned. Buildings stood, but windows were broken. Cars rusted in the streets. No smoke. Number. Movement. No people. "Strange," he whispered, recording every detail. He landed his ship in what used to be New York City. He walked slowly through the streets, wearing his dark blue suit and breathing through a clean air mask. His steps echoed. No one was there, and yet it felt like someone was watching. Inside an old library, he found human books scattered across the floor. He picked up one, flipping through it. It was a history book, photos of world wars. Pictures of destroyed cities, nuclear bombs, and soldiers fighting in mud. "These creatures are violent," he said. "They have been fighting each other for thousands of years." He smiled. No wonder they are so dangerous. But the more he read, the less confident he felt. He found journals written during war. One line stopped him cold. "We do not fight to win. We fight because it's the only thing we've ever known." He looked around. The air was still. 2. Still. A loud thump echoed outside. He turned quickly. Blaster ready. Nothing there. Just wind. Then came a sound faint, far away. Music. A slow, haunting human song. It played through the air as if from nowhere. Creel followed it. It led him underground, into the subway tunnels. The air grew cold. The lights flickered, still. He walked forward. Deeper. Then he found something. A wall covered in writing scratched in many languages. Some Zorak, some human, some unknown. One line repeated over and over. "They're not gone." He heard breathing behind him. He spun around. Nobody. "Show yourself." He shouted. Nothing. He turned back and froze. The writing had changed. Now it sighed. "You shouldn't have come." His heart pounded. This is a psychological trick, he whispered to himself. It's fear, illusion. But deep inside, he wasn't sure. He returned to the surface. The sun was setting. Shadows grew long. Creel activated his drone. It flew high, scanning for heat. It found something. A single heat source moving through the ruins. Human. He followed. Down alleyways. Across rooftops. His scanner locked onto the target. He aimed his weapon. Stop! He shouted, turn around. The figure paused. Then slowly turned. It was a child. Maybe 10 years old. Dirty clothes, cold eyes. She looked straight at him. You don't belong. Here, she said. Creel lowered his gun slightly. Where are your people? She smiled faintly. You already met them. What do you mean? She pointed at the sky. They're up there, watching, Creel frowned. That's impossible. My scans show no life forms. The girl's eyes darkened. You're not scanning right. Then she ran. He chased her. Around a corner, through a broken building. But when he entered, she was gone. In her place, there was a mirror. A single word was written on it. Run. He turned to leave. But the door was gone. He spun around, panic rising. The walls were shifting. The building was alive. He heard footsteps. Above. Below. All around. He aimed his gun wildly. Come out. Nothing. Then whispers. Dozens of voices. Not Zorak, not human. Something else. He screamed and fired his weapon, but hit only air. Suddenly he was back in the street. How? He didn't remember running. He looked at his hand. Blood. His own. A deep cut across his palm. He ran to his ship. Breath shaking, hands trembling. He sent a message to the Imperial Council. Do not come here, he said. This planet, it sees us. It uses our fear. It becomes what we fear most. He paused. And I think we are not the first. Others came before us, long before. What did you find? The council asked. Creel stared into the camera. I found the truth. He leaned in. There is no war on Earth. There is only the unknown. And the unknown. Is winning. The message ended. That was the last anyone ever heard from High Analyst Creel. His ship was found later floating above Earth. Engine cold, cockpit open. Empty. No body. No trace. Just silence. And the sound of distant laughter, playing through static. The Zorak High Command no longer trusted anything from Earth. They had lost fleets. They had lost soldiers. They had lost answers. But fear was not something the Zorak Empire accepted. So they called her in. Dr. Aravex. She wasn't a warrior. She wasn't even a soldier. She was a deep mind analyst, trained to understand alien psychology, culture, and survival instincts. She had studied hundreds of species, but humans, they were different. They scared her. Now she was ordered to do the impossible: go to Earth, walk its ruins, and uncover the truth behind the human mind. This is not a combat mission, her superior had said. We want knowledge, not blood. You will go with a protection team and return within 72 hours. But no one came back from Earth in 72 hours. Still, she obeyed. Her ship landed quietly in what humans once called Europe. The buildings were broken. Trees had grown through cars and roads. The air was thick and still. Stay close, said Captain Ral, leader of the protection squad. His voice was firm, but she could tell he was nervous. The team moved into a nearby human research center, now in ruins. Inside, Aravex found files, paper, discs, video logs. She sat down and started reading. The more she read, the colder her hands became. Look at this, she whispered. One of the soldiers leaned over. What is it? Human experiments, not on others, on themselves. They pushed their minds to survive war, hunger, pain, and fear. She played a video. A human soldier stood before a camera. His face was pale. His eyes looked empty. We lost the city. He said, I watched my squad die. I buried my best friend with my hands. He paused. Then I kept going. The recording ended. Aravex turned to the others. Do you understand? They don't break like we do. Pain does not stop them. Loss does not slow them. It shapes them. Captain Ral frowned. So that's how they fight? She nodded. They use pain as a weapon. They've trained their minds to survive things we can't even imagine. She picked up another file classified human military data. She read aloud. Project Widow Psychological Warfare Through Fear Projection. Soldiers trained to act like monsters, disappear into shadows, attack in silence. They became ghosts, said another soldier. No, Aravex said quietly. They became predators. The team explored deeper into the city. They found more. Buildings, schools, hospitals, everything left behind. But nothing felt dead. At night, they camped inside a half-broken hotel. It was quiet. Too quiet. Aravex couldn't sleep. She sat near the window, watching the moonlight fall over the broken streets. Then she heard something. A soft knock. She turned. At the hallway's end, a figure stood. Small, human, a girl, just like in the reports. Who are you? Aravex called. Girl didn't answer. She pointed behind Aravex. Aravex turned and saw writing on the wall. You think we're gone? She spun back, but the girl had vanished. Alarms rang through the building. The soldiers grabbed their weapons. Intruder alert. Someone shouted. But no one attacked. Instead, the walls were covered in new writing, glowing red symbols. Human language. We are still here. We are the war. Captain Rail looked around, confused. This isn't a battle. This is a message. Then one of the soldiers screamed. He pointed his gun at a shadow. There! Something moved. They fired. The bullets tore through the wall. Nothing was there. More shadows danced across the walls. Shapes of people, running, laughing, and always whispering. Dr. Aravex stood still, watching. Then she understood. They're using fear against us. What? They're not attacking. They're making us destroy ourselves. It's all part of the plan. She turned on her datapad and replayed an old human log from the early 21st century. The voice said, We don't fight with numbers. We fight with terror. We let the enemy fear shadows until they stop trusting their own eyes. Then we strike. Captain Reel turned to her. We have to leave. This place is cursed. But as they returned to their ship, something blocked their path. It was a man. Alone. No weapon. No armor. Just cold eyes and a scarred face. You don't belong here, he said. Ral pointed his gun. Step aside. The man smiled, then vanished. Suddenly, the ship's engine exploded. One of the soldiers screamed and dropped to the ground. Aravex crawled to cover. We're trapped, she whispered. More figures appeared around them, men and women, quiet, calm, holding simple weapons, not machines. Not energy rifles. Just knives. Clubs. Fire. One of them whispered. You came to understand us. You wanted to see how we survive. He stepped forward, and Aravex could see his eyes clearly now, empty, focused. You came looking for the human secret. He smiled. Now you'll live it. She screamed. Then blackness. Days later, a rescue drone arrived in Earth's orbit. It found the wreckage of the shuttle, smoking and empty. One message was left behind on a metal wall scratched by hand. We do not die easy. We become something else. This is our world. You do not belong. The Empire received the message. And finally. They stopped sending ships. Because now they understood the truth. Earth's real weapon was not its guns. It was the human mind. And it had already won. Commander Salver had seen many wars. He had led the Zorek legions through fire and across galaxies. But now, as he stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Nighthammer, staring at the dark planet below, he felt something new. Earth. He said, almost like a curse. A single blue world, no fleet, no army, And yet, we keep losing. His second officer, Jarn, lowered his eyes. We've lost over 1,000 soldiers, 39 ships, and the last 3 scouting parties, all gone. Not a trace. Silver clenched his jaw. That ends today. He wasn't here to study humans. He wasn't here to understand them. He was here to destroy. Launch the attack drones. Bomb every ruin. Burn the forests. Crush the cities. I want that planet silent by sunset. Hundreds of dark drones launched from orbit. They screamed through the sky like knives and dropped into the atmosphere, carrying explosives, fire, and poison. Selvar watched from above as the explosions lit up the Earth's surface. But something strange happened. The bombs never hit. The drones disappeared mid-flight. One by one. Like flies swatted from the air. Selvar's eyes widened. Report. What happened to the drones? Jarn checked the system. They vanished, sir. We're not receiving any signals. It's like they were taken. Selvar stared at the screen, his hands tightening into fists. Taken by what? Down. On Earth, something was changing. For the first time, the humans were not hiding. They were striking back. It began with small attacks. Zorak ground bases destroyed overnight. Tanks found ripped open. Supply convoys ambushed without warning. No explosions. No energy blasts. Just silence. And then fire. Lieutenant Mirek was in charge of one forward base in the African wastelands. One evening, his men spotted movement. They're coming. Someone shouted. He raised his weapon and saw shadows moving. Between rocks. He opened fire. Nothing hit. The wind blew harder. Sand covered their eyes. Then came the sound, low growling. Animals? Someone asked. No, Mirek whispered. Humans. Figures moved fast through the dust. They didn't use guns. They used old weapons, blades, spears, firebombs. Fear. Within minutes, the base was burning. Mirek tried to call for help, but all signals were blocked. A voice echoed from the smoke. You started the war. Now we finish it. Then came silence. Commander Selvar received dozens of similar reports. His elite troops, trained for years, were being hunted by farmers, mechanics, and children. How is this possible? He shouted in rage. They have no ships, no war tech. Jarn hesitated. They have something else. They have purpose. Selvar glared. Purpose doesn't win wars. But even he could see the truth. The humans weren't trying to win with weapons. They were breaking the Zorak spirit. One squad refused to leave their bunker after hearing strange whispers at night. Another shot their own commander during a panic. More and more soldiers were deserting. And now, human resistance fighters had names. One of them was called Ash. He was never seen clearly, only caught in blurry images. But every time he appeared, a base went dark, a tower fell, or a ship crashed. Some said he was just one man. Others said he was many different faces. Same mind. Selvar didn't believe in legends, but Ash had become more than a man. He had become a message. One night, Selvar heard a report from Base 12. All units wiped. No survivors. A single human infiltrated the base, planted explosives, spoke 2 words before leaving. What were the words? Selvar asked. The officer trembled. We're awake. Selvar stared out the window. Earth no longer looked weak. It looked alive. We can't fight ghosts. Jarn whispered. They're not ghosts, Selvar replied. They're humans. And they're angry. Far below, in the ruins of an old city, Ash stood on a rooftop with his small team, ordinary people with dirty faces and scarred hands. Farmers, soldiers, teachers, survivors. He looked up at the sky. They're afraid now, said Mira, a former nurse turned fighter. Ash nodded. Good, but it's not enough. We have to show them this world isn't theirs. What's the next target? Ash pointed at the sky. We take out Nighthammer. Myra's eyes widened. That's suicide. Maybe, he said. But it'll send a message. They moved quietly through the shadows. A relay tower nearby still had old communication equipment. They worked fast, quiet. Focused. Ash activated the signal. It tapped into the Zorak's frequency for just 5 seconds. That was all they needed. Silver was in the command room when the screen flickered. Ash appeared, staring directly into the camera. "You thought we were weak," he said. "You were wrong. You wanted to break us." He leaned forward. "We were already broken. Now we're just dangerous." The feed cut out. Seconds later, Nighthammer's defense systems were hacked. Its own guns turned inward. Explosions rocked the ship. Panic spread. Silvar ordered evacuation, but escape pods failed. Everything failed. Ash had delivered his message, and Earth had turned the war. That night, across the galaxy, the Zorak Empire stopped calling Earth a target. They now called it something else. A warning, because the humans had shown them the truth. You don't need spaceships to win a war. Sometimes all it takes is never giving up, and the will to make your enemy afraid of the dark. They had started whispering his name, not in honor, but in fear. The Zorak soldiers didn't know who he was, or where he came from. They only knew what he left behind: smoke, silence, and fear. The humans called him Ash, but the Zorak had given him another name. The monster. Captain Varn was part of the Empire's Black Talon unit, the most elite hunting force in the galaxy. He had fought jungle beasts on Denrail and survived the ice storms of Kevrith Prime. He had never failed a mission. Now, he stood at the edge of a ruined Earth city, armor glowing faintly in the cold wind. Around him were 9 trained killers, silent and alert. "This is our mission," Varn said. "Find the human called Ash. Kill him. End this madness." One of the soldiers looked nervous. "Sir. The last unit that hunted him didn't even leave a body." Varn stared. "We're not the last unit. We're the end." They moved into the city, once called Chicago, now silent and overgrown. Trees had broken through concrete. Buildings leaned like old men, tired and forgotten. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. The squad spread out. Movement. Contact, shouted a soldier. They raised their weapons, but only saw a fox running between the cars. False alarm. Varn walked slowly through the street, scanning every shadow. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the comms. "Sir. I think I found something." It was Revik, the youngest of them. Varn followed the signal and entered an old subway tunnel. It was dark and narrow. He moved carefully. Then he saw the symbol, a single letter painted on the wall in human blood. "A. Don't move," said a voice behind him. Varn turned fast, weapon raised. But no one was there. His comms went dead. One by one, his soldiers lost contact. He shouted, "Report!" Sound off. No answers, only static. He climbed back to the surface, eyes scanning rooftops and alleys. Then he saw it. A body, hanging upside down from a broken lamppost. One of his own men. His mouth was open. Inside was a message, written on a piece of metal. "You sent hunters, but I'm the one hunting." Varn's heart pounded. He moved faster now, following the blood trail. Then he saw another figure standing calmly at the end of the street. No armor, no helmet, just a man in dark clothes, holding a knife. "Ash!" Varn shouted. The man didn't move. Varn fired. The bullet passed through smoke. The figure vanished. Behind him, something moved. Varn spun around too late. A blade cut across his arm. He fired wildly, hitting nothing. "You're afraid," said the voice, echoing around him. "I've fought your kind before. You kill from above. I kill up close." Varn screamed, throwing a flash grenade. The light lit up the street and revealed nothing, just empty space. He ran. All pride forgotten. All honor left behind. Back to his ship, if he could make it. He climbed through a broken tunnel. Suddenly, a face appeared in front of him. Ash. Real this time. Blood on his hands, a look of calm rage in his eyes. Why are you doing this? Varn gasped. Ash didn't blink. You brought war to my planet. We thought you were weak. You were right, Ash said. We were weak. He stepped closer. Now we're something else. Varn raised his weapon, hands shaking. Ash didn't stop walking. Varn fired. Click. Empty. He looked down at his weapon. Jan. Ash moved like lightning. A sharp pain. Then darkness. When the Empire received Varn's final signal, it was just one image, his helmet, cracked, bloody. Placed on top of a pile of Zorak bones, and beneath it, scratched into the ground, you made a monster, now face it. On the far side of the earth, Mira watched the stars from a rooftop. Ash sat beside her, cleaning his knife. They sent another team, she said. He nodded. They always do. Do you ever sleep? He looked at the sky. Not yet. She turned to him. They say you're becoming a legend. I don't want to be a legend, he said. I want them to remember what they did. She looked down at the broken city below. Do you think they will stop? Ash's face was hard. Not until we make them afraid. He stood, picking up his weapon. They came to find a monster, he said. Let's show them what one looks like. And with that, he disappeared into the night. The sky above Earth was no longer filled with stars. Now it was filled with smoke. Zorak warships still floated in orbit, but they were no longer proud or organized. Their engines flickered. Their weapons systems were unstable. And inside, fear spread like a disease. Admiral Velrock stood at the center of the main Zorak flagship, the Judgment Spear. He looked around at his crew. Faces pale, voices low. Nobody shouted anymore. How many ships remain? He asked. 17, Admiral, replied his officer. Out of 112, Velrock nodded slowly. And how many still respond to command? Only 5, sir. He looked at the dark planet below. Earth, one planet, one species, and we are losing everything. Another officer spoke up, whispering, some of the ships are refusing orders. They've gone dark. One tried to escape the system. It exploded. From the inside. Velrock's eyes narrowed. Sabotage? Maybe, the officer replied. Or maybe something else. That something else had a name now. Ash. The humans no longer waited for attacks. They were launching them. Small, quiet teams were getting into ships' hacking systems, planting bombs, releasing viruses into the networks. Zorak soldiers died in their sleep, their oxygen shut off by their own computers. Some ships woke up to alarms, only to find their engines melting and their commanders already dead. Velrock called for a war meeting between the remaining captains. They appeared on screen. One by one, most looked broken. Some were bandages. Others had lost parts of their crew. This is madness, one captain shouted. We must leave the system. Velrock slammed the table. We do not retreat. We are the Empire, another voice spoke up. We were the Empire. Earth changed that. Velrock stood. Earth is not a god. It is not a monster. It is a planet, and we will crush it. A long silence followed. Then one captain said, Have you ever met one of them, Admiral? Velrock paused. No, he said. But I've seen what they leave behind. Then you don't understand, the captain replied. They don't fight like us. They don't care about dying. They don't stop. They're already dead inside. Velrock ended the call. He walked alone through the dark hallway of the flagship. It was quiet. Too quiet. He passed the sleeping chambers. Empty. He passed the mess hall. Cold food still on the tables. Something felt wrong. Then the lights went out. He froze. Report, he said into his cum. No answer. He turned back the way he came and saw writing on the wall. Written in blood. You're already in the grave. His hand reached for his blaster, but it was gone. Another message glowed under emergency light. We warned you. Suddenly, the ship shook. Alarms blared. He ran to the command deck. Sparks flew from the walls. Screens exploded. One officer screamed, "There's fire in the lower engine deck. Seal it," Velrock shouted. "We can't." The officer yelled back, "It's not fire. It's—" A loud blast cut him off. Velrock looked out the window. One of their own ships had just fired at them. "No," he shouted. "They've turned." Another explosion rocked the ship. The gravity systems failed. Bodies floated in the air, some already lifeless. The enemy wasn't outside anymore. The collapse had come from within, on Earth. Ash and Mira watched the sky from a mountain peak that another Zorak ship was falling, flaming, spinning, crashing toward. The sea. "They're eating each other alive." Mira said. Ash didn't smile. "They were never ready for war like this," he replied. "They thought war was about guns. But it's about patience, pain, fear." Mira looked at him. "How many more do we need to break?" Ash answered, "All of them." Back in orbit, only 3 Zorak ships still had working engines. They tried to escape. One made it to the edge of the solar system. Then it exploded. From the inside, Velrock, bruised and bloodied, crawled into the last working escape pod. He had lost everything: his army, his pride, and his belief in victory. He launched the pod and drifted away from the wreck of his ship. As Earth grew smaller behind him, he sent one final message to the galaxy. "This is Admiral Velrock of the Zorak Empire. Earth is not a world, it is a trap. It does not fight like others. It waits, then it tears you apart. If you hear this, stay away or face what we faced: collapse." His message ended. His pod floated into deep space. No one came to rescue him. In the ashes of the old cities, humans began to rebuild slowly, carefully, not with pride, with scars. Ash walked alone through a broken street. Children played in the ruins. People cooked on fire pits made from Zorak metal. Myra joined him. "It's over, isn't it?" He shook his head. "Not yet. Someone else will come one day." "Then what do we do?" Ash looked up at the stars. Wait, and next time?" she asked. Ash's eyes hardened. "We won't just survive. We'll be ready." The stars were quiet again. Most of the galaxy didn't even know a war had happened. Earth was far from the central worlds. It was small, unimportant, or so they had thought. But now, a message floated across the stars. A broken signal, old and damaged, but still powerful enough to reach deep space. It repeated every few hours. "This is Admiral Velrock of the Zorak Empire. Earth is not a planet. It's a grave. Stay away." The message echoed through space like a warning from a ghost. Ships that picked it up turned silent. Empires listened and grew afraid. On the Council of 9 Worlds, high above the clouds of Dareth Prime, ambassadors from many species gathered. They were confused, angry, curious. "This message is false," said the Harkon ambassador. "The Zorak Empire is still strong." "No, it's real," said a quiet voice from the back. "I knew Admiral Velrock. He wouldn't lie." "Not about something like this." "What happened to Earth?" another asked. "Why did they attack it?" The room fell silent. Nobody had an answer. Back on Earth, Ash stood on the ruins of what used to be a spaceport. Winds blew across the broken metal. Birds had returned. Grass pushed through cracks. He stared up at the sky. Mira joined him. "The message is still going out," she said. Ash nodded. "Let it." "Do you think they'll come again?" He didn't answer at first. "Someone will," he finally said. "There's always someone." Mira looked uneasy. "And when they do," Ash turned toward her, "they'll find something different." "What?" "A world that remembers." On the far edge of the galaxy, a pirate ship caught the Zorak signal. The crew laughed at it. "Scared little warning from a dead empire," one of them joked. But their captain, a tall woman with sharp eyes, didn't laugh. "Find Earth," she ordered. Let's see what scared them so badly. They didn't return. Months passed. Then years. Earth stayed quiet. But it wasn't sleeping. They were preparing. Underground cities. Silent satellites. Weapons disguised as rocks. Children trained from a young age not just to fight, but to survive, to think, to adapt. Ash watched it all. But he didn't lead. He was a ghost now. A symbol, the monster the galaxy feared but never saw. One day, a small ship arrived near Earth's orbit. It didn't attack. It didn't speak. It just floated. The humans watched it. It looked damaged. Old Ash gave the order. Bring it in. Inside the ship was one alien, injured, weak, no weapons. The doctors treated him. Mira sat beside him as he woke up. "You're safe," she said. "This is Earth." He stared at her, eyes wide. "You're human?" She smiled. "Yes." He sat up slowly. "I came to warn you." She raised an eyebrow. "Warn us?" He nodded. "There's something worse than the Zorak coming. Something older, bigger. It eats stars. Destroys time." Ash entered the room, silent as ever. The alien looked at him and froze. You're the one from the stories," he whispered. "The shadow that walks among ruins." Ash ignored the fear in his voice. "What is coming?" "The aliens." Voice shook. "We called it the silence. It doesn't talk. Doesn't send messages. It just erases everything. Planets, moons, history." Myra looked confused. "Why warn us?" "Because you're the only ones who fought back," the alien replied. "You broke the Zorak. You broke yourself. And still, you stood." Ash sat across from him. "Then we'll stand again." Far beyond Earth, something moved in the dark. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a being. It was absence. A hole in reality where it went. Stars disappeared. Civilization screamed, but only once. Then nothing. On Earth, Ash recorded a new message, simple, direct, meant for the stars. "To anyone listening, you've heard the Zorak's warning. You've feared the fall. Now listen to ours. If you come to Earth, come with peace. If you come with war, bring your gods. Bring your kings, and bring a shovel. You'll need it to bury what's left of you." He sent it across the galaxy. It echoed. Louder than Velrox ever had. In a dark chamber beneath Earth's surface. Children trained in silence. Teachers spoke of strategy, not just strength. Maps of stars hung on walls. Languages of dead species were studied. Every student knew why they trained. They were not soldiers. They were warnings. And out there, in the cold black sea of space, the message traveled. Through storms, through ruins, through time. It passed through ships, passed through fear, passed into legend. They had tried to conquer Earth, but Earth had sent back one message, just one. Never again.